For 90 BC, Sparta and Athens were the two largest city-states in Greece. After the Ionian revolt was finally crushed by the Persian victory at the Battle of Lade in 494 BC, the King Darius began plans to subjugate Greece. In 490 BC, Darius sent a naval force of 600 ships and 25,000 Persian soldiers under the command of Dotis and Artiphons across the Aegean Sea to subjugate the Cyclades and then make punitive attacks on Athens and Eretria, reaching Euboea in midsummer. After a successful campaign in the Aegean, the Persians proceeded to besiege and capture Eretria. The Persian force then sailed for Attica, landing in the bay near the town of Marathon, which was about 25 miles from Athens. A formidable army of 1,000 cavalry soldiers and 25,000 infantry troops disembarked on the shore, showcasing their significant size and impressive equipment. In addition, the Persians maintained a substantial contingent of armed oarsmen and sailors, who served as reserve forces, safeguarding their fleet of ships. The army included various contingents from different parts of the Achaemenid Empire, especially the Ionians and Aeolians. These were battle-hardened soldiers. Upon hearing this information, the Athenians swiftly gathered together a contingent of 10,000 Athenian hoplites, who were well versed in the Greek method of warfare. While on their march, they were joined by an additional 1,000 soldiers from their allied forces. There were 10 generals in total, each representing one of the Athenian tribes, and the foremost among these generals was a man named Callimachus. Upon reaching Marathon, the Greek forces strategically positioned themselves in front of the Persian army's positions, effectively obstructing their advance into Greek territory. The Greek army found themselves now greatly outnumbered by the Persian forces, and to compound their challenges, the Greek army lacked both archers and cavalry, whereas the Persians possessed these advantages. Simultaneously, the renowned runner of Athens, Defies, had been dispatched to Sparta with a plea for the Spartan army to come to the aid of Athens. Defies reached Sparta during the Carnian festival, a sacred time of peace, and was informed that the Spartan army could not mobilize for war until the arrival of the full moon. Athens couldn't anticipate any reinforcements for at least a 10-day period. The Athenians were left with no choice but to maintain their position at Marathon during this time. However, their resolve was strengthened by the arrival of a full contingent of 1,000 hoplites from the small city of Plataea. This gesture greatly reassured the Athenians and earned Plataea lasting gratitude from Athens. The Greek forces established their camp and prepared to wait. However, the Persian general had no intention of allowing the Greeks to remain in their positions and passively await the invaders' attack. He repeatedly attempted to provoke the Greeks into launching an offensive, but met with failure each time. On the 9th day of inactivity for both armies, Dotys, the commander of the Persian army, employed a clever strategy. He embarked a portion of the Persian forces onto cargo ships, with the intention of circumventing the harbor and launching a surprise attack from the rear, when the primary forces of both sides clashed in combat. Nonetheless, there was a single weakness in Datis's entire scheme. The Greeks who had aligned themselves with the Persian king remained loyal to their own homeland, and a few of the rulers from the subjugated Greek city-states successfully conveyed information to the Athenian army. This intelligence alerted the Athenians to the Persian cargo ships' imminent attempt to disembark and strike the rear of the Greek army in 2 days' time. Upon receiving this information, the Athenians organized themselves into a battle formation and moved forward to confront the Persians before the Persian cavalry could return. As they advanced, the Athenians made adjustments to their formation. They reduced the density of their central formation and bolstered the strength of their flanks. This strategic move, with a long front line and reinforced sides, aimed to obstruct the larger Persian army's ability to encircle the smaller Greek force, which was marching resolutely in formation. The Athenian forces advanced in a disciplined formation, drawing closer to the Persian archers' effective range, then initiated a decisive charge toward the Persian positions. As the Athenians drew nearer, the Persian archers unleashed their arrows, yet the Greek soldiers continued to advance steadily toward the Persian forces, closing the gap with each step. The two armies collided in a fierce battle, refusing to cede the initiative to one another. Both sides held firm in their formations, aiming to defeat the enemy with intense determination, relentlessly pushing against each other while maintaining their own disciplined systems. Dotys clung to his initial strategy, and a significant portion of the Persian forces surged toward the center of the Greek army. This was precisely where the Persian commander believed a breakthrough could potentially occur. Observing that his forces had successfully created a breach in the Greek army's formation and that the Greeks were starting to retreat, Dotys deployed all of his infantry and cavalry reserves directly to the flanks of the Greek army. This move was aimed at preventing the Greeks from escaping. The moment the Persian cavalry reached the flanks and engaged the Greek forces, a Greek rearguard suddenly emerged from the flank, acting as a vanguard, and counter-attacked the Persian cavalry. Simultaneously, the Greek soldiers who had appeared to be in retreat swiftly transformed their formation, organizing themselves into a tightly knit phalanx. With astonishing ferocity, they began to advance aggressively, pushing the enemy back into their own rear lines. As the phalanx advanced against the Persian center, the Greek reserve forces, unburdened by a confrontation with the enemy's cavalry, skillfully maneuvered around the flanks of the Persian army. With precision, they launched rapid assaults on the Persian forces from both the sides and the rear, encircling the Persians entirely. The Persians were now completely surrounded on all sides, and the morale of their troops began to waver. Within the Persian army's formations, there existed proficient warriors who could hold their own against the seasoned Greek fighters. It might have appeared that an attack from the side could potentially weaken the Persians and trigger a panic-induced retreat among the enemy forces. However, the Persian soldiers, battle-hardened from countless conflicts, were already engaged in a fight to the death, suffering the loss of thousands of their comrades. While the Greeks had only lost a few dozen, the Greek phalanx stood as an impenetrable stronghold, shattering Persian blades and annihilating anyone who dared to approach them. The sounds of the battle emanated from beyond the hills, where the Spartan unit was anticipated to arrive. Nevertheless, as time elapsed, both sides, wearied from the prolonged conflict, started incurring losses, significantly impacting the progress of one of the opposing forces. Fortunately, the phalanx formation, which kept the Greek hoplites tightly bound together, prevented them from retreating due to limited maneuverability. Conversely, the Persians lacked a cohesive formation, causing their ranks to disintegrate as they progressively crumbled one after another. As Dotis observed the entire scene, he was tempted to join the battle himself. However, his fear for his own life ultimately prevailed, and he chose to stay behind with his army. Methodically and decisively, he readied himself for a retreat, recognizing that the chance to execute a rear attack with the cavalry he had dispatched by sea had slipped away. In the interim, the Greek army's commander took up arms and fought alongside his hoplites on the right flank. For over an hour, despite his exhaustion, his unwavering bravery and leading by example infused the entire Greek army with hope for victory. Having completely disintegrated their formation, the Persians, in a desperate bid to escape, sought to break through the Greek soldiers positioned at their rear. In the process, they inadvertently trampled their own comrades and left themselves vulnerable to the hoplites' attacks. While some did manage to flee, there were others who could not extricate themselves from the battle. The Persian cavalry had been completely wiped out, and the enemy archers found themselves ensnared in the midst of the battle, unable to withdraw. The entire Persian army was mired in the mud, and as the battle neared its end, they were losing thousands of soldiers within minutes. The Persian fleet started to set sail, and the Greeks relentlessly pursued the retreating Persians toward the shoreline, aiming to diminish their numbers and inflict substantial damage upon them. The Persian archers were unable to halt the progress of the Greek rearguard. In response, Greek archers, strategically positioned at the rear of their formations, shifted their focus to the Persian archers. As a result, the Persian archers suddenly found themselves under a barrage of precise and previously untargeted shots. Defies was filled with horror as the Greeks broke through all the flanks, effectively ensnaring the Persian army in a deadly pincer movement. The Greeks relentlessly herded the Persians to the very shoreline, and only a fortunate few managed to find safety aboard the departing Persian ships. After the survivors boarded the ships, the Persian fleet moved around Cape Sunion with the intention of attacking Athens. The Athenians recognized that their city remained in peril, prompting a swift return to Athens. However, two Athenian tribes remained stationed on the battlefield, entrusted to defend it under the leadership of Aristides. As the Persian fleet approached Athens, they beheld an entire Greek army already positioned and prepared to confront them. This sight compelled them to reverse course and retreat back to Asia. On the subsequent day, the Spartan army reached Marathon and conducted an inspection of the battleground. They unanimously acknowledged that the Athenians had secured a remarkable victory. According to Greek sources, the Battle of Marathon had a substantial Persian loss, with a reported 6,400 soldiers perishing, in stark contrast to the fewer than 200 Greek casualties. This battle emerged as an exceptional triumph for the Greeks, showcasing their valor, strategic acumen, and the formidable efficacy of the hoplite phalanx formation against a diverse array of enemy forces. Thank you for watching my video. Be sure to subscribe and stay tuned for the next video.